Hey everyone, it's Alan Brochstein from New Cannabis Ventures and 420 Investor. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving day. I did, and I hope that the week was good for you as well. I am basing this upon one of the articles that I sent out to my subscribers at 420 Investor, and there's a link to that article in the summary of this video. So there was, for a short week, there was some big news this week. The FDA took action against 5 private CBD companies that were using CBD in food or drinks, and one of them is very well known. Also, we had New York change up the game a little bit. They issued 36 licenses. They're trying to help on the social equity front, and they had some bad news for the current MSOs that are, well, MSOs and non-MSOs, but the current providers of medical cannabis in terms of when they can start selling adult use cannabis. They'll still benefit from the adult use market because their products can be sold, but in terms of the stores, they're limited. We also got the Canadian September cannabis sales, and they were flat to August, which sounds good because there's one less day, but the August numbers were revised lower, and the year-over-year growth was only 12%. So that market is not, it's maturing, and it's not growing very much. I did distribute 4 articles to my subscribers. And the first one was last week's edition of the weekly newsletter summary, and you can click on that. The other 3, 2 of them were done on Friday afternoon a week ago, and they were a model portfolio composition article, and based on 2 of my model portfolios that are managed against the Global Cannabis Stock Index, and a cannabis subsector review, which is a chart package. And last week was like the 6th or 7th straight week where I've looked from the low of September 30th. This week, which I'll share with you next week, well, share it, but you can't look at it. I looked from October 31st. I also published my second of 3 featured articles that I share with my subscribers at 420 Investor real time and with my subscribers to the monthly newsletter at the end of the month. And that article is entitled, "Don't Bank on This Cannabis Stock Yet." And I took a look at a recent newly traded security that was a SPAC merger. There wasn't a lot of news this week from companies, and I cover now 31 names. I removed 1, so 31 names are on my focus list at 420 Investor, and I published for my subscribers 5 pieces of news, and during the week, that's all. And so we're past earnings season for the most part, and I actually published more. I published about how I was removing one of the companies. I had warned them I was going to remove it based on the earnings report not being good, and no, the earnings report wasn't good. So those 5 pieces of news were that, so I was aware that Emily was a director at Ascend Wellness, and Emily runs PSDN, which is a double leveraged, or it's very leveraged, not double leveraged, very leveraged. It's kind of like MSOS, but it has leverage. And I think that in general, investors need to be careful with leveraged ETFs. And I think whether you're a pro investor or a novice investor, you better be careful with those and make sure you understand. But more importantly here, I think it was not right of Emily, who I really like, to be a director of a company in which she's invested. And she should have, if she really liked Ascend and wanted to own it, she should have stepped down then as a director. But she didn't. But this week she did, and they named 2 new directors. The second piece of news was Curaleaf opened 2 new Florida medical cannabis dispensaries. The third piece of news was Grogan opened a 60th retail store, and this one was in New Jersey. The fourth piece of news was Organigram launched a new value brand, Holy Mountain. And then the fifth one was Village Farms unit, Pure Sun Farms, that's their Canadian cannabis company, is now offering a collection of CBD products called Nowadays. And so that was it, kind of a light week. All right. Now I want to talk to you about the market performance. And as I mentioned already, the market was unchanged, but that was a lag of the S&P 500, which we continue to do. And so far in November, we're up 1.4%, but that's less than the S&P 500. And in Q4, though, we're up 18.7%, which is pretty good, even for cannabis stocks. 18.7%, and that's about 50% greater than the S&P 500. And I know a lot of people think the beta is higher than that, but right now, my big picture view is we are in a transition to 2023, and I've been telling my subscribers, I don't expect people to rush in and buy cannabis stocks necessarily. They may, but I thought that getting through earnings season without any big negative surprises, which I think one can say that's what happened, would open the door to more people taking advantage of the depressed prices. So speaking of taking advantage of the depressed prices, I run some model portfolios. I run Flying High, which is a swing trading model portfolio. It's not that actively traded. In fact, this week I exited one MSO and I bought another and I added to an ancillary. That's it. So not super actively traded, but it is actively traded. And this week, that model portfolio fell 0.6%. So it was, compared to the unchanged market. So it wasn't a great week. And it's only up 0.2% in November, not a great month. And it's up 16.5% in Q4. So it's up nicely. It's supposed to beat cash. 16.5% is a lot better than cash, but it is lagging the overall market in the Q4. Year to date, again, this isn't great because it's supposed to beat cash. It's down 41.8%. That's not good. I know that. But it's a lot better. It's been fully invested the whole time, and it's a lot better than cannabis stocks in general, which are down 59.3%. 41.8 is better than that. Okay, so I run 2 model portfolios that are managed to the goal is to try to beat the global cannabis stock index that New Cannabis Ventures updates each quarter. And the 420 opportunity was down 0.2% this week compared to the unchanged market, so a little worse. And it is down, so first of all, in Q4, it's up 18.6%, so in line with the global cannabis stock index. But year to date, it's doing better, and you can read the piece that this article is written on to find out. And 420 quality is pretty much exactly the same right now, although there are differences at times. Right now, they're pretty much the exact same. And that one was down 0.4% this week. It's down 2.5% in November, so a little bit worse than the market. And it's only up 17.7% in Q4, so it's lagging as well. But year to date, it's doing much better at 53.2%, or 53.2% decline. So we also, in the newsletter that I share with my subscribers and with you, we talk about the week ahead. And the week ahead has a few earnings reports. On Tuesdays, to me, a very important one, Organogram is going to report. And that's their year end, which was August 31st, so Q4. And also, we have Slang Worldwide during trading, and Consortium in pause a bit after the close. And then on Wednesday, we have Chiron and Simply Better Brands reporting. So there are some reports, and the only one which is important, in my opinion, is Organogram. And so that's really it. I want to update you, and I want to thank you for being a listener. I'm leaving, when I say 420 Investor, which I have the trademark, 420 Investor is leaving Benzinga. And I appreciate greatly the time that I spent at Benzinga, which started before 420 Investor in early 2013. And they let me launch 420 Investor, and I wasn't sure they would do that, but they jumped on it, and they were a great partner. And I'm not going to say anything negative about them, but I am leaving them, and I'm going to Seeking Alpha, where I've been a writer for more than 15 years. I'm very excited about this. I've written about it, and you can find that article in my blog where I really lay out the details of what's going on. But so there's a chance that 420 Investor is going to just be down for 6 months, or actually 5.5 more months. I can live with that. And there's a chance that I'm able to do as originally intended, which is to get Benzinga to understand why it's smart to let me open there sooner without giving me such a hard time. They are giving me a hard time. So I look forward to working with you in the future at Seeking Alpha. And I don't know when the future is. It was supposed to be at year end, but it could be the middle of May if you're interested. And, I thank Benzinga for everything they did for me, especially in the early days. And I thank Seeking Alpha for taking me after almost dying in mid-April when I got hit by a car. It was a hit and run driver, and I was riding my bicycle in a bike lane with a helmet, and according to witnesses, never saw or heard anything, just got hit. And I spent 2 months in the hospital. And I appreciate greatly Seeking Alpha continuing the discussions we were having before and agreeing to take me. It means a lot. Do I really think they're stepping out and taking somebody that doesn't deserve to be taken? No. I'm very lucky. I'm doing very well with my brain, and my body's getting better too, but that's really not relevant. And so I'm just grateful that it all worked out. And I appreciate you listening to this, and I will keep doing this even if there's no 420 Investor for a period of time. Take care.